Oops. Whoops, Steve. Steve?
What?
Whoops, Steve.
What are we whoopsing? What happened?
The start of the show.
Oh. Yeah, like I didn't see the live in the corner. I know I'm playing the role again. Fucking fake news.
It's kind of the start of the show, Steve. I mean, it's not like really the start of the show. It's the pre-show, if you will.
It's not the start of the show until you play the music.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And I mean, even that's been fucking up all the time lately. So,
yeah, fuck it.
What's it really matter, Steve?
Well, I remember a time where somebody ragged on us for not having a professional show.
Yes. Oh, what was his name?
I don't know. Where did that dude go? How many shows did he do?
What was it? Joe something.
Master Beatty or something?
I don't fucking know. But yes, I do recall that. That was when we first started, wasn't it?
That was our very first fucking show.
Holy shit.
5 years ago.
For anyone who's just started listening to our show since we rebooted it, there are over 100 and I don't know, like fucking 50 episodes on YouTube that you can check out. But yeah. Oof. That was a long time ago.
Sure.
What are you fucking playing with?
You can hear that?
Yeah.
It's my my flash drive. I'll throw it over there.
Stop it.
I did.
Fucking stop it.
It's gone. I couldn't even hear it. I don't know how you could. Start the damn show.
Okay, Steve.
Please.
Sure, Steve. Heidi ho, and welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode 7. John Titor's Time Travel for Dummies.
Titor,
I thought we should, pay homage to our favorite time traveler of all time. I mean, he really is our favorite time traveler, Steve.
He's your favorite time traveler.
And it is a new year, Steve.
It is?
Yeah, and it's like, how many years after he said that the world was going to go to shit in a civil war?
He's off by a couple of years. Remember, there are, like, what did he call them?
The different variations?
Yeah. So we're just in the wrong variation. Divergence. That's it. Thanks,
yes.
Richard.
Yes, the divergence. That is correct. But he came from the year like 2036, right?
Yeah. So when we get there, we'll stop and talk to him and
see what's up.
I think we'll still be doing a show in 2036.
Well, you and I will be like two fucking grumpy old men driving down to, well, no, we'll probably already live in Florida at that point.
I'll be in a nursing home somewhere, I'm pretty sure.
and we'll fucking go down and talk to Titor himself. Be like, hey, bitch.
Right. I think that's a plan. 2036, we look up John Titor because obviously how old was he supposed to be? I mean, has he been born yet? Obviously.
Oh yeah, he was according to him, when he was here, he was staying with his parents and his younger self.
So his younger self knows.
Well, I don't know how much they told the younger self.
If I saw a version of myself in the future, I'm pretty sure I'd say, hey, wait a second, that guy looks familiar.
Dude,
and then I'd start questioning it.
I went down such a rabbit hole with John Titor because I'll never forget it. I was living with my old roommate and he worked night shift. And I think I was out of work at the time. I was on unemployment. I was between jobs. I'd been laid off from a delivery job where I was delivering collision repair parts, and before I had gotten hired on at Frito-Lay. And he comes home one night and hands me this CD. Or no, he was going to work one night. Sorry. Hands me the CD before he goes to work. He's like, "Hey, check this out. I listened to it the other night. It's about this time travel." He's like, "It's all fucked up." So I popped the thing in while I'm fucking dubbing around in my room and listened to the whole thing all the way through. It was Oliver Williams, the guy that runs JohnTitor.com, who was being interviewed and answering all the questions, because this guy knew like everything. He had collected all of John Titor's posts from all of the forums and everything in chronological order and put them together on JohnTitor.com. So this guy's very knowledgeable about the subject of John Titor.
Here's my big issue with this. Wouldn't have John Titor known enough to buy the domain name JohnTitor.com? I mean, think about it.
Maybe he couldn't fuck with things that much, but he could go on the internet and blab all about how time travel works. I don't fucking know, dude.
I mean, he knew about the internet, obviously, but he would have known that domain names can be valuable. And John Titor, that would be a valuable domain name.
Maybe in the future they're not, Steve.
Oh, come on.
Hmm? So anyway, after I listened to the CD, I went to the website and I went crazy. I read through everything. I literally went down through every post, read everything, got sucked in. I was like, the fucking world's gonna end. But nothing.
So you bought it hook, line, and sinker.
I totally bought it, dude, at first. And then it's as with everything of this nature, it starts to fucking unravel. And there's a lot of things that, Titor pointed to that actually happened. But there's a shit ton more that just didn't.
Well, I mean, with any predictions, I think you're going to have some success rate, with any kind of prediction.
I'd love time travel to be real, dude.
It is. I mean, yeah. Theoretically, it is possible.
Yeah.
Now, whether anybody's ever achieved it, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was just, like I said, there was a lot of things that lined up. They knew about, how infrastructure worked, the computers that were needed to converse with, the computers that ran certain systems, because they were supposedly trying to get those back up and running in the future, and they were having a problem, and that's why he needed the IBM fucking whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, come on.
I don't remember the name.
There's probably 6 or 7 of those on eBay right now.
Anyway, he needed one.
Okay, so they're going to be around in 2037. He didn't have to travel back in time.
Dude. He was a time traveler. What do you want?
Richard, our producer, is sending me a note. Handed me a note just now and said, "Shut the fuck up," because I mentioned eBay. I wasn't mentioning it in that capacity.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. But yeah, I mean, the motherfucker literally talked all about how his time travel device worked. It was these, he called it dual singularities. And somehow they injected electrons over the singularities, and it fucking somehow caused them to be able to time travel, but not within the same timeline. And that was the big thing that he said, that he could never get back to his original timeline. He could only hope to get back to a timeline in which the people there are actually waiting for him.
I I don't buy that part of it.
What happens
I
if
mean,
like 3 or 4 Titors wind up in the same timeline? They like they're all divergent by the same amount, and they wind up in the same one. There's like 4 of them there. They're like, what the fuck?
they'd have to have a death match. The best John Titor would win.
There can be only one. In that case, is it like Highlander?
Maybe they all, maybe they all combine into one person.
I don't know.
Maybe
I, Dude,
maybe time
I have
makes that
I
happen.
have never proposed that I understand how fucking time travel works.
How accurate was he on his theories, though? I mean, was the theory that he was putting out how time travel works, is that accurate as to our knowledge at this point?
I I have no clue. Couldn't tell
Me
you.
either.
I know he said that some shit was going to happen at CERN, and most, I believe most of the shit that he said that was going to happen at CERN or come out of CERN actually happened. But I don't know if that was just a really good guess based on someone who knew what they were going to be doing.
I don't know.
Yes, that's correct, Richard. They were vague. He was vaguely correct, and it was there was just a lot of it that would suck you right the fuck in. The story of it.
Well, whoever was behind it, and I'm pretty sure it was a big hoax. I don't think there was anything real about it, but they were definitely well. It was well planned
Well,
out.
he said that mad cow disease was going to be a huge problem, and like he wouldn't buy meat in the grocery store. Like he had to go know where it was coming from, how it was fed, all this bullshit. Like there was a lot of things that with his predictions that just didn't fucking happen at
What I
all.
want to know is, did he predict the Trump presidency? Because if he'd have done that, then I might believe it's real.
No, he was asked if a woman would become president, and he dodged the question. He always like he would come out with the weird things about certain things. He said something about the Olympics, like when that there wouldn't be Olympics here, but there was. But yet he wouldn't say who the fucking president was going to be. Excuse me. It just, I mean, I don't know. And as like I said, as with anything that's like this, it slowly unraveled for me, and then it was just like, what the fuck? Now it's just a joke for me.
Well, I don't think it's a. I mean, it's a joke or it's a hoax, obviously, but it was a well thought out. Well, I mean, whoever did it knew a lot about a lot. I mean, he obviously knew what the fuck he was talking about in some of that shit.
Yes.
Stuff that common people wouldn't know. You would have to have some sort of technical background or training.
No,
And not,
he knew some shit about. I would say he or she. It could have been a woman. We don't know.
yeah.
It was fucking words on a screen. But whoever it was had knowledge about physics, and I would say quantum physics. They knew enough to skirt around a bunch of different shit. They were asked questions about what stuff was like in the future, and they had answers that just were crazy thought out by whoever did this. Like someone asked him about internet, and Titor said that in the future all internet was done through wireless nodes, so it wasn't set up like it is now, or the now of that time. And I mean, technically, I guess you could say he was kind of correct, but not really.
Well, obviously, I'm sure that wireless technology was uh, in its infancy at that point, but it was existent, for the internet.
Right. I mean, wireless stuff was
Obviously, the next step.
right. I mean, there are many things that can be pointed to say that whoever John Titor was just had a good way of looking at how things were going to pan out.
Well, I'm guessing that
because nothing was solid.
if I had to guess, John Titor probably wasn't one guy. I'm going to guess that there was.
You think it was like a think tank?
Yeah, really.
I mean, hey, that's not a bad assessment. I'm not going to throw you under the bus for that one. Fake news, Steve.
No, there was just too much going on there, and too well thought out for some average hoaxer guy. But what I wonder, and it's obviously some very intelligent people behind it or person. So I wonder if it was like some sort of, not a prank so much, but maybe some sort of study that somebody was doing to see how far they could take that. Maybe like a college study, because these people were very intelligent people or person.
Richard says that it's broadly speculated that the John Titor character was invented as a marketing campaign. But a marketing campaign for what, though? Oh, for GE. Yes, that's right, because he said the first time machine was made by GE. GE, we bring you Back to the Future.
I can see a large company doing something like that, but I don't think they would have took it to that extent. And so many people would have had to been involved in a marketing team. I mean, marketing team isn't one or two people. It's like for a company like GE, it's hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people in an ad agency or something to come up with something like that. So I don't see that being a marketing ploy.
I love how he was like, "Yeah, I can't
never took credit.
I can't tell you about that. I can't tell you who, if there's a woman president. I can't tell you this. But hey, GE makes the first time machine."
Well, but I don't think GE had anything to do with that. I really don't. And if they did, why wouldn't they just come out and say, "Hey, we got you"? It was a marketing campaign. Eventually, there would be some sort of paper trail anyway.
And he did say that it would be the war that would cause the technology spike or the drive towards time travel.
Well, war drives us towards a lot of advances in technology, so that's not...
Exactly. So that wasn't outside the realm of something that someone could just think of, but that is something that he also said.
I think war is probably the main driving factor. War and preparations for war is the main driving factor for technology, obviously.
Preparation H for war?
Yes.
It's kind of like a hemorrhoid on the planet. War.
But I still don't think this was just a couple of, high school kids, or even just some guys that even worked for GE, for example. I think that it was people. I mean, I've been thinking about. I thought about it a lot, and I thought that it really seems to me like a study in human behavior. Let's see what we can do, and see how many people will believe this, and that kind of thing.
Oh, dude, how long have I been saying if somebody wants to do a documentary that I think everyone would watch, do it on the fucking people that look for and are fascinated by Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah, there's some psychological things going on there for sure.
Do a fucking documentary on the people that go to conferences and talks and this and that. Oh, dear Christ. Would that be hilarious? And Bobcat Goldthwait talked about doing that. I believe he talked about doing that on the Joe Rogan podcast because he had just gotten back from going to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference and going to Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
I think a scientific study on people, not just Bigfoot community, but any paranormal type thing, even the religious cultures, not cultures, but religious beliefs are kind of the same thing. I mean, you just get all involved in that shit. I think a scientific study on that would be fascinating, on what makes these people tick, what goes on inside your head to believe some of the things you believe. If you could scientifically point to something that makes people believe certain ways, that would just be groundbreaking shit, man. And it would be fascinating.
Well, hey, I mean, you could be like L. Ron Hubbard.
If you could scientifically explain belief, which I doubt would ever happen, but if you could scientifically explain belief, you get the fucking Nobel Prize.
Yes, I believe in pussies, Richard.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. I of course I believe in a fucking higher power, but I mean, what that is, I don't have a clue. I don't think it's what's in the fucking Bible. I think that's just a bunch of words written down by a bunch of fucking men years ago in a language that we don't even know how to fucking translate anymore. But, you know, do I believe that belief needs to exist? I mean, hell, even atheists have some form of belief.
Well, if you think about it, yeah, they believe that God isn't real, but that's a belief. You know, no matter what you think you believe, or you don't have a belief, you still have a belief, one way or the other. And usually you're very convicted to that belief. So atheists are some of the most, they believe they're right. You know, so and they're very I've seen some atheists go ape shit on the internet defending their non-belief, but it's a belief.
No, I mean, but do I think that we have to believe in order to be? I don't know.
I just think it makes your existence more palatable,
Livable.
yeah, because if there's nothing beyond what you're doing today, I mean, if there's nothing beyond this life, then it makes it a lot harder for most people to go on, to have a normal existence. I mean, they have to believe that something exists beyond this world. Now, atheists obviously don't believe that, but they still have a belief system. You have to believe in something.
Chris Day in the chat room asked, what is the absence of belief? I mean, my first thought would be that, well, that's an atheist, but like the absence of belief would be nothing. Like, I guess you could say it's like nihilism. Nihilism is kind of like nothing, right?
I don't know. I don't even know what that word means.
Nihilists? Don't they believe in nothing?
Sure. Okay.
But that, again, that's sort of a belief, isn't it?
Everything is, no matter if you believe you don't believe something, you're believing a lie.
Yeah.
You believe in something. You have to, in order to justify your life, you know?
I'm beginning to think that we're making the argument that you have to believe in something in order to be alive.
I think you do. Just think about it. If there's nothing beyond this life, I mean, that's pretty grim for a lot of people. You know? And if you believe that there's nothing beyond this life, then you have to believe that there's something to this life. You have to accomplish something while you're here, and that's where the atheists come in, but that's still a belief.
Yeah, I definitely say that atheists have a belief.
In fact, I think it takes more faith and as I grew up as a Christian, so I've heard this before, but I think it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to be a Christian, because as a Christian, you don't have to, everything's up to God. Just give it up to God, you know? As an atheist, it's all on you, you know? So it takes a little bit more faith to believe that there isn't anything after this life.
Okay, so we kind of slid off track a little bit, Steve.
Yeah, screw John Titor.
Well, no, I I have another question for you along those lines. Now, what do you think of the idea that the ancient alien theory is actually time travelers, not aliens, and that the aliens that we even see today are time travelers, and the UFOs that we're seeing are just their time traveling machines, devices, whatever you want to call it, like John Titor's fucking beat up pickup or Chevy fucking Camaro, whatever he fucking drove with his fucking time travel device in it.
What do I think of that? I think it's of course it's a possibility. I mean, if UFOs exist and if quote unquote aliens, people are seeing aliens. Now, it doesn't explain why they look different than we do. But if you believe in evolution, which a lot of people is a belief is a belief. I don't think so. I think it's fact. But we might actually someday in the future look something like that. So it's a possibility, I guess. And I've pondered that fact a lot of times, that maybe that's all it is people from the future trying to come here to study what history,
Well, I think
what really happened in history.
Well, I think either study or maybe they were trying to right something that's wrong by going way the fuck back.
I don't think so. I don't think they would be here to do that, because if they were here to do that, we'd have a lot more interaction with that sort of thing.
You think so?
Wouldn't you? If they're trying to fix something, obviously they'd have to interact more.
Well, yeah, but maybe they're trying to fix it from behind the scenes.
It's possible, but why do they pick the craziest people on Earth to fix things? You know what I'm saying? Most people who see.
Speaking of the craziest people on Earth, Dean Cooper asks, I think that the aliens people see are the fairies people used to see.
I wonder if John Titor wasn't some sort of government disinformation thing.
How so?
I don't know. It just seems. I don't know. A lot of people blame everything on disinformation, but
you think it was a smokescreen?
Yeah, but for what?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so that didn't make sense. Strike that from the record.
Strike it from the record.
I'll go back to my original thought.
I'll decide when our show gets into dumb shit. You just fucking produce.
I do know for a fact and believe for a fact that the government does do that on certain subjects. Aliens and UFOs, probably not. Time travel, probably not. And even Bigfoot, probably not. But obviously, the government has to put out disinformation at times to keep us from discovering that they're making the next super weapon or some bullshit, so that we don't spill the beans.
How much?
So they have to put out some disinformation.
How much effort do you think the government has put into time travel?
I'm sure quite a bit.
I would say a lot.
Yeah, because Rich, in one of the news stories today, Richard sent me, it talks about a lot of the things that they were into, and of course we know about what was that? Shit. Where they gave the LSD to the soldiers and all that.
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra. So
yeah,
I guarantee
there's a new Steve, calm down. There's a new documentary on Netflix. It's kind of like a documentary slash movie, because they kind of did like fictional accounts with actors to recreate the events. as well as
the Wormwood show that's
yes,
out.
yes.
I want to watch that.
Yeah, and I meant to watch that. I started actually, I think, and I wound up shutting it off, but I meant to get back to it. But yeah, we know that they did. We know that they did MK Ultra. We know that they've done work in or looked into remote viewing.
So I wonder. Okay, let's say that they're still doing things like that, which I guarantee they are. Maybe the whole John Titor thing was part of that. And the reason I'm saying that is because instead of sticking with one or two people at a time or a group of soldiers where they gave them LSD or whatever, now they've got the whole world on the internet, and they can do an MK Ultra type program right there on the internet. You know, like put out misinformation, for example, and see how many people will buy into this shit.
So you think John Titor was like a petri dish look at people on the internet?
I think it was, but I obviously don't think it was by the government. I'm not saying I'd put it past them to do something like that, to get some sort of psychological profile of, you know, internet users, for example. But I think that that's probably what it was. If you think about it, let's see how far. Let's see. It was some sort of psychological study, is my guess.
By the government.
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily by the government. I think there were some college people behind it, because they were obviously very intelligent people.
Yeah, but if there was like a paper written about it, you'd have heard about it by now.
Right. That's what I was saying with the marketing campaign. If there was a marketing campaign, there would have definitely been a paper trail, and somebody would have brought that out, and it would have been
Richard,
solved years ago.
To answer the question of follow the money, people tried that with Larry Haber, the entertainment attorney. If the money leads anywhere, it leads to him, and I don't think he made any money off of this. I've never seen anything where anyone's come out and said that money was made off of this somehow. There was talks of a movie. There was talks of a book. There was one book released, but only so many copies were made. And
the money stops with that guy, that Larry Haber, right? I mean, it doesn't go anywhere really past him except to whoever he was representing, which we don't know.
Right. Wasn't his brother involved too somehow?
Something like that. They believe anyway.
It gets really convoluted, and I mean, that's why I say that with the John Titor thing, and it goes this way for a lot of this stuff, like conspiracies and, you know, mysteries, unsolved shit. You go down these fucking rabbit holes. You know, I posted a story today to the blog about these 5 guys that disappeared. They call it the American Dyatlov pass case. And like this one guy died of starvation or something like that, but yet there was like food like literally feet away. You know, they died from the others died from freezing, but there's plenty of ways for them to make fire. Like, is like this really crazy fucking case. But I just wonder, you know, if it's like one of those cases where eventually it's just going to unravel, and then you're going to find out something very mundane.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with a psychological study. It's very mundane, really. And it could have been just a couple college students doing a thesis. I mean, there doesn't have to be any real big secret behind it.
Yeah, but I think if there was a paper written by any measure, we'd know about it. Somebody would have found. Dude, fucking people find everything. They find everything. Head in a box. Steve, head in a box. Head in a fucking box.
Okay, I get the head in a box reference, but you'd have to know who was behind it, and they're not coming forward. You'd have to know who initiated I mean, you can't just say, okay, obviously names would have been changed. They wouldn't have said they did. I mean, the paper wouldn't have mentioned John Titor at all. It's just a psychological profile of internet users and whatever group that was in. That's it.
I mean, it very well could have been, but I think if it was an actual paper written, I think we would have heard about it by now.
Maybe it was a shitty paper and the professor who the students turned it into threw it out. It was so bad. I don't know. But it just seems too well planned out to be just some practical joke or hoax. Just a plain old hoax. There's just too much involved in it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't see any money that leads anywhere. And I know people have tried to bark up that tree for years to try and find out where the money leads. And
fuck, there's still people researching that shit.
But there's no money. So whoever did it did not do it for fucking money. And no. I think if anything, Larry Haber and his brother just stepped in and were like, hey, fucking nobody's going to fucking claim this shit.
Right. I'm sure that that's as far as that went, because obviously he saw an opportunity to try to make money off of it. Didn't happen, but you know, because he would have to eventually produce John Titor or whoever was behind it if he would have went any further with it. So I don't know.
And that's the $1 million question: is who was John Titor? Was John Titor a man? Was John Titor a woman? Was John Titor a group of people answering questions and posing as one person on internet forums?
That's my guess.
Did John Titor actually call Art Bell? That's a huge question people have had. People say that he did. Other people say that no, he probably didn't.
Did somebody in fact call into Art Bell and claim to be John Titor?
I believe the way the story goes, someone called into Art Bell and claimed they were a time traveler.
Right.
From the future.
I think I've actually listened to that episode.
And I want to say that person said something about the Y2K virus.
A lot of people called into Art Bell and claimed to be time travelers.
And that was one of the things that John Titor said that he had come back to, and he had fixed in our timeline. I thought that was interesting too. He said that he fixed the Y2K incident.
The Y2K non-incident. Well, because he fixed it, right?
Right, correct. Yeah, so
I wonder if we were to do the same thing today. Obviously, it would have to be well planned out, but I bet you we could do the same kind of thing today and get a lot of people to buy into it for a short time.
You want to create a John Titor thing?
Well, we wouldn't do time travel because that's done. But you could do, I mean, we've talked about that before. We could make our own cryptid or make our own, you can make up any kind of story and people would buy into it. And to me, it would be...
People buy bullshit by the fucking barrel all the time.
Yeah. And it would be super easy to... And whoever was behind the John Titor thing quit while they were ahead. But he could have kept going with that for years. I mean, we know people who go with it for years. It's crazy.
And people were right into it. Like that site used to get huge hits. I think you can still go there.
What site was it? Do you remember?
I think it's johntitor.com, but I don't think that Oliver Williams has updated it in ages. It has not been touched. The last time I looked.
Where were the original messages posted to?
No, it wasn't johntitor.com. He collected them from different places. They were like time travel forums and shit like that he posted to.
So just regular time travel forums.
Yeah, there were. He went to actual like forums about time travel.
It wasn't one single website?
No, there were a few of them that he frequented from what I remember.
Because if it were one single website that this happened on, then I would look deeper into that particular website and see who was running it and that if they had the ability to do something like that. just to get people to their website. Obviously, it caused
I think
a lot of people go.
I think quite a few of those forums don't even exist anymore.
Right.
And the only place you can see any of it is on johntitor.com. And like I said, I haven't been there in a while.
Well, I went one of the many times that we discussed John Titor and checked it out. It hadn't been updated in years, but it is all still there. So I'll have to see what websites he was posting on. Was it back in the day of the old BBS systems, or was it actual internet forums?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember what it was.
I don't think Reddit existed back then, Richard.
Yeah, I don't think it was on Reddit. But it you know, I read through all of it. Like, I literally took days and sat everything. And I got sucked right the fuck in. It was hilarious.
Okay.
So hilarious.
I have another theory. You ready?
Okay. Give me a theory.
John Titor was an alien, a
shit.
human actually, time traveling, posing as an alien, working for MK Ultra, and writing a thesis for college.
It took it way too far, Steve. You got to keep it simple.
I know.
Buddy.
I should have stopped at thesis. I know.
You got to keep it simple. The fuck were you
thinking?
I don't
know. Obviously, it wasn't a real thing, but.
Steve, you're such a fucking amateur at making shit up on the spot.
That's the only thing you've interrupted the show for? I've said a lot of stupid shit tonight.
It just had to be said. It's so easy, considering he started posting in 2001 to say that he was an alien from the future that came back to stage 9/11. How hard is that?
Okay, well, next time I'll do that. Next time we do a John Titor show, that'll be my explanation.
Wow. Thanks, Steve.
It was Richard's idea.
Oh. I didn't realize.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere with that.
I stopped paying attention. The minute he started speaking.
I don't know. We've done this John Titor thing to death. I don't think and so have other people. You know, there's people today who have spent their entire life searching for the answers to that John Titor mystery, and we're never going to get them.
Oh, I thought you were going to go X-Files on me.
No, whoever was behind it is obviously not going to come forward. Maybe they will someday. You know, maybe on their deathbed there will be a confession or some bullshit. But I don't think we'll ever get an answer to any of it. So speculation on it isn't going to do that much good. But it's fun to talk about. But that's about it. You know.
Hey, Richard.
You can unmute Richard.
Yeah.
Did Dean Cooper ever answer your question?
Yeah, he did.
He did? Oh, okay. I'll talk to you about it off air.
Right on.
Dean Cooper was John Titor, right?
DB Cooper.
DB Cooper.
Wow.
See, that's a show we should do, is the DB Cooper mystery. I think we have done one, but
I think we looked at it a couple of different times. But no, I just thought, you know, it's the new year.
So you guys started on the wrong foot with the John Titor.
On the wrong foot with John Titor.
Again.
Dude, when was the last time we talked about John Titor, though? Think about that.
Episode 2, John Titor stole my flux capacitor.
That is not the last time.
No, we've talked about him since then.
We've talked about him.
We did a show about him.
No. Yeah. We did one where we had talked about him possibly popping back up, and we went on a whole
yeah. Whatever happened with that?
I don't remember.
Wasn't it supposed to be like in 2015 or some bullshit? He was supposed to come back, and
yeah, honestly I can't remember.
And nothing happened.
It's been so long since we did that show.
It's like the Andy Kaufman thing. Everybody believed he would come back.
Andy Kaufman ain't coming back. Andy Kaufman's dead.
No, he's not.
But Steve, he's dead.
That's the topic for another show.
So's Elvis.
No. Well, Elvis is probably dead by now, yeah.
He's probably dead by now.
By now, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he'd be what, 800 years old by now. I mean, he'd be in his at least his 90s anyway.
Steve, you're a riot.
I still believe that there's more to the Andy Kaufman thing than people are. I mean, he said he was going to do it.
Just because he said he was going to do it doesn't mean he actually did it.
But what would be better comedy than that? Just saying.
I just don't see it happening at this point.
Oh, whatever.
You know, if you're going to pull something like that, he would. I would think he would have already been back.
No, I don't think so. I think what he would have done is totally changed his appearance and came back, but as a whole different person, and you would never know it.
If you say so, Steve. I can't expend enough energy to buy into that. I just can't. But you can. You can all day long if you'd like.
Yeah. Well, I've done a lot of study on it, so kind of like you. See, you got into the John Titor thing really deep. I do that on occasion with certain subjects, and Andy Kaufman's death was one of them, and so was Elvis's death. So, and I think there's compelling evidence in all three cases that something strange has gone on. So,
we shall see. We shall see.
You know, that would explain a lot, Richard, about our current president.
Oh,
Andy Kaufman came back as Donald Trump.
Oh, fuck off.
That would be the ultimate right there. That'd be awesome. Of course, Trump was already born, and yeah, so that doesn't work.
Steve, you getting any news?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Okay, so this was originally published in a website called Detic, but it's in a foreign language, so this is the translated version. So they will refer to that newspaper or website on occasion, but it's from coconuts.co. I don't know why, but it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so a paranormal expert confirms that a viral photo of a freaky ghost is authentic. It wasn't. That's the title.
Oh.
When is the last time that one was? If you ever needed, if you ever needed convincing that there is always a rational explanation for anything supposedly supernatural, particularly in Indonesia, because this is where the article's from, then perhaps this story will be the nail in the coffin for you.
Were the ghosts having sex with anybody, Steve?
No, they were singing karaoke.
Oh, karaoke?
Yes, on Friday in Java, because it's a real long word.
What were their musical selections?
I'll see if the story says that.
Oh,
I believe ABC 123 by the Jackson 5 and Puppy Love by Donny Osmond, I think.
Okay, continue.
Okay. Well, you asked. On Friday, in fact, I've been watching a lot of reruns of Donnie and Marie. It's pretty good shit. On Friday,
so glad you brought that to the table.
It's good stuff. On Friday, especially when they had the big bowl of soup and they were all falling into it, and there was a fly in it. Oh, it's great. On Friday, police in Probolinggo, East Java, carried out a vice raid at a karaoke joint. There was a photo taken during that raid, and immediately it went viral in Indonesia, not anywhere else, but in Indonesia, as many thought that one of the female karaoke attendants sitting in the background was a ghost, one that apparently wanted to show off her grotesque face for the cameras. The photo got so much national media attention that Detic, that is the website that originally published this, sought the expert opinion of a so-called paranormal expert for an explanation. Being a person whose job is mainly to come up with convenient explanations for strange occurrences, the expert said that the woman herself wasn't a ghost, but that a supernatural being had obscured her face on purpose. So when the photo was taken, the being covered up the face of the woman. The expert was quoted as telling Detek on Saturday. You still with me, Chris?
At present, I am.
Okay. I just couldn't hear anything on your end, and usually there's like a light buzz.
No, there's,
I see.
There's always a light buzz on this side of the fucking microphone.
He's out of weed, that's why you can't hear it.
I see.
Yeah. But Richard, did you notice the message in the chat?
I just did, or I wouldn't have said anything.
Right on,
Anyway.
Chief.
Oh yeah, no, finally, fucking heck ahead.
I was looking at the YouTube chat. Sorry. Can't be everywhere.
I'm in the middle of a fucking news story. Chris, go to the bathroom. Richard, you comment.
Okay, I'm here. Go.
There we go. Anyway, the expert added
Flawless transition.
yeah. The expert added that the being is a jinn, which is an Islamic genie, apparently, who took the form of a female vampire ghost. Resembling.
First of all, jinns are demonic genies.
But they're still genies.
Yeah, they're bad genies. Very bad
genies, okay. Anyway, the guy's name is Hassim, the expert, and his ghost-busting street cred unfortunately took a massive hit as police confirmed that there was no jinn or ghost of any shape or form. It was just a woman wearing a black floral veil over her face in the picture.
Ghost-busting street cred, is that a thing?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Ah, here we go. The CIA, this is from the metro.co.uk. The CIA told take photos. And
so this ties into what you were saying, Steve.
That's right.
I'm John Titor. I predicted this because I got you the news story.
That's right. I don't know how you knew. But
okay,
the CIA...
so fucking continue with the news story.
All right. Well, the world is blurry. The world is full of blurry, grainy, and probably fake photos which claim to show alien spaceships zooming through the sky. But the CIA wanted to see the best possible shots of unidentified flying objects and even offered advice on how to snap the best possible images. And it was during the 20th century, aren't we? What century are we in now? Still 21st, right?
Yes, Dave.
21st, yeah, until 2100.
Nice. That's right. Okay. During the 20th century, or last century, spooks, they call them spooks, CIA agents, handed out documents which allowed extraterrestrial investigators to record their findings and showed them how to take detailed photos. The files were released last year, but just resurfaced after the CIA wrote a tweet about the documents using the acronym ICYMI, which means, in case you missed it. Now, you might think there's something a bit weird about intelligence agency tweeting declassified information like it was a trending content website sharing a story about some poor, unfortunate chap trapping his penis in a tube station turnstile. It does say that in the story. I didn't make that up.
What?
Do you want me to reread it? You may think...
Yes, I would like to rewind.
Okay. You may think there's something a bit weird about an intelligence agency tweeting declassified information like it was a trending content website, sharing a story about some poor, unfortunate chap trapping his penis in a tube station turnstile. That's what it says. And you'd be right.
Okay. I've got nothing to say about that. That just can stand on its own merit.
We've dug up some long-lost tips on how to take photographs of UFOs, the CIA wrote. That begs the question, did the CIA really investigate UFOs? The photography tips were aimed at making sure images could be debunked or confirmed easily, and advised ET hunters to keep the negatives, take shots of the background, and try to snap UFOs from several different angles. And if you're wondering if the CIA did investigate UFO sightings, of course the answer is yes. Last year, the CIA finally made millions of pages of highly secret documents freely available online. Data includes UFO sightings and records of psychic experiments, kind of what we were talking about earlier, such as the Stargate program, where the CIA worked with people such as Uri Geller. I didn't know they worked with Uri Geller.
The men who stare at goats.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Here's one right up Richard's alley. This is from the National Geographic.com. So that's a good source, a real source. Anyway, I guess they've sequenced the genetic blueprint for the Tasmanian tiger.
Wow.
Yeah, the newly sequenced genetic blueprint may help scientists clone the tiger. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm supposed to keep reading, right?
Yeah.
A baby Tasmanian.
Steve, the whole idea is that you read the news story.
Okay. A baby Tasmanian tiger collected 108 years ago has provided enough high-quality genetic material for researchers to sequence the animal's entire genome, creating one of the best such genetic blueprints for an extinct animal. Announced this week in Nature and Ecology and Evolution, the genome has revealed details about the marsupial's evolution and its decline towards extinction, and is a crucial step in plans to clone it. Why would they do that?
So that we can examine them, Steve.
I wonder if they make good pets.
With Steve on this one, I don't see the point.
Yeah.
In creating a Tasmanian tiger?
Only if they're going to...
Yeah, it wouldn't have any memories. It wouldn't know how to be a Tasmanian tiger.
No, but it would learn rather quickly. Like, there's a lot of genetic memory when it comes to animals on this planet, Richard.
That is correct. In birds and fish.
And you do know that they're trying to bring back the woolly mammoth because they think that they need them to stomp on the permafrost in the tundra.
Why do they need them to stomp on the permafrost in the tundra?
Because it makes the temperature go down. And if that...
Cloning is the end of conservation.
And if that permafrost melts, there's so much gas underneath all of it that will be released into the atmosphere. Supposedly, this is what they say.
Have you ever worked construction, Chris?
Correct. Yes.
You know what a tamper is?
Yes.
So why don't they just get a bunch of guys out there with tampers?
Because they can't do enough. I mean, I suppose they could just, throw all the
or like one of those
people up there,
rollers.
But they want to use fucking woolly mammoths.
They want to enslave a race of woolly mammoths to do the work that they should be doing themselves.
Well, they just want to let them run free, Steve. All they got to do is literally walk around.
They gotta work.
It's what they do anyway.
So where are they gonna eat? They're on the fucking permafrost.
The same place.
What are they eating? Snow?
I don't know. I don't know what they eat. Do you know what fucking woolly mammoths eat? They had to have eaten something.
Sounds like a thinly veiled reason to do this, if I'm honest.
I think so.
I don't hold with cloning anyways. It represents the opposite of what conservation's supposed to be about.
Okay.
The Tasmanian tiger, or thylacine, was a wolf-sized carnivorous marsupial once common across Australia. It became extinct on the mainland 3,000 years ago, but survived on the southern island of Tasmania until dumb humans came and shot them all.
Because we suck.
Yeah.
It wasn't just us. There was...
there was a lot of genetic issues.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's it. That's the story. I'm not reading any farther. because it's going to go into this woolly mammoth bullshit, and I don't want to hear about it no more.
Oh, you didn't like my woolly mammoth story?
No, because that's stupid. Stupid to make these woolly mammoths stomp on the permafrost.
Okay.
As dirty as it makes me feel, I agree with Steve.
Why would you want to do that? I don't believe that putting a bunch of woolly mammoths on the permafrost is going to make much of a difference at all. It doesn't get any colder when I drive on the snow. So how is it going to get any colder if you put woolly mammoths on the permafrost?
I don't know, Steve.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In fact, it actually probably warm up, make it melt a little faster.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, when you drive on the road, the snow kind of melts a little bit, or, you know, because the heat from your tires.
Sure, Steve.
So that's the woolly mammoth issue. I think it's, you know, a catch-22. I don't even know what a catch-22 is, but I think that's what it is.
I don't even...
Considering that our dogs wiped out the mammoth in the first place, I mean, how are we going to compensate for that?
The dog man wiped out the mammoth?
No, dogs. Dogs carry fleas, which carries a disease, which wipe them out.
Yeah, and dogs still have fleas.
I think it was the dog man.
The dog man killed the woolly mammoth. Yeah, why not? You know what? I'll go with that.
I'm with it.
Let's put the Fortean slip stamp on that.
There's a whole
seal of approval.
There's a whole ethical thing behind the idea of cloning, and that's why I have maybe some issue with it. I'd have to look into the subject farther, but cloning just doesn't seem like something I want to happen.
You don't want to stand behind cloning?
That's all. No. Where do they stop? You know, where does that stop? You can clone a sheep, and then you clone a woolly mammoth, then you clone a person.
Dude, you wait until that first artificially intelligent program starts. The one that becomes sentient. Once that shit happens, it's all out the fucking window.
You know, like in iRobot? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not so much talking about iRobot. I'm just saying in general.
That was a good movie.
Because this first sentient program may not be in a robot. It may just be a sentient program.
The book was good too.
The book was a collection of short stories.
Over, you know, who will we end up bowing to first? Our mighty alien overlords or the robotic ones?
I think we'll give up our fucking rights to the fucking robots so quick.
Well, we'll all be dead by that time.
They won't even get a fight.
Yeah.
And then in a couple of generations, they'll be all on YouTube and stuff trying to...
The first fucking robot, the first robot that makes a robot, forget it. We're done.
What happens once the robots take over for a while, you know, a couple thousand years later, and there's still some humans running around, and the humans start to become sentient again, not sentient as like we are now, and then the humans take back over. That's what's going to happen.
Listen, you know how I know that robots are going to take over the world?
No.
Because self-driving cars.
Because people can't pump their fucking gas in Oregon.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to talk about that, weren't we?
That's how I know that fucking robots are going to take over the world. Chris
sent me a good poop article this week too. I should have read that on the air.
Yeah, see, I sent you some good stuff, Steve. And what did you do?
The producer sent me other shit. I'm supposed to go with what the producer sends me.
The robots are going to take over, Steve. It's because of people like you. Fake news, Steve.
Do you think the aliens will come after the robots are in charge?
I don't know. You guys pump your own gas over there? Or,
yeah,
excuse me, petrol, so that you understand what I'm talking about.
I know what you meant, and yes, we do.
Good for you.
But it seems to be a problem in Oregon.
A big
what
fucking
is this
problem.
About? Because I've been seeing that all over my Facebook.
I guess you weren't allowed to pump your own gas before they voted recently.
there are 2 states in the United States that had laws against pumping gas on your own. They had to be done by a professional because it's a flammable substance and some old laws, you know.
Right.
So now in those 2 states, when they make the pumping of your own gas legal, well, people don't want to do it because they're afraid that they'll do it wrong and blow things up, apparently.
That's the third stupidest thing I've heard this week.
But it's true. That's what people believe. I mean, the one woman, I read the comments, and the one woman's like, well, I don't want to smell like gasoline. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you going to spray it all over yourself?
Nozzle. There's a hole. It's literally the simplest thing on the planet.
I know the one guy commented to her, he's like, you put the thing in the hole and you pull a handle. That's all you do. And then you let go of the handle.
Jesus.
Yeah, but a lot of Oregonians won't pump their own gas. And when they travel to other states, they either look for a gas station that does pump gas or have somebody else do it for them. Yeah, crazy stuff.
That must be hard when they go out of state to try and find some place that will pump their gas.
Yeah.
There are still a few. In fact, there's one locally here, but you pay a premium for that, first of all, because they got to pay the guy to pump the fucking gas.
Yep.
Imagine if that's your career, professional gas pumper.
Okay, here's my, if you're from Oregon and you're listening, I apologize, but get a fucking clue. Here, put your credit card, debit card in the machine, or go inside and pay for your gas. Come back outside, lift up the handle, open your gas cap, take the other gas cap off, put the pump inside the hole, you know, like, it's kind of like sex, really. Pull the handle.
Steve, what if they've never had sex before?
Oh, yeah, true. They're Oregonians. Maybe they haven't. I'm sorry. That was a bad example. All the, liquid comes out of the little penis-looking thing. You let go of the handle, put it back in the pump, and go home. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Thanks, Steve, for that. That was a great
like
play-by-play of pumping your own gas. I'm sure the people from Oregon
for other useful
appreciate you.
Steve tips, please go to his eBay channel.
Listen, this is now an educational video, and you can market it as that. And how-to videos really do well on YouTube, I should say.
Yeah, I'm sure people are going to watch this
or
listen to this.
Where Steve will tell you how to eat
for that.
I am going to the gas station tomorrow. I don't need gas, but I'm doing it anyway. And I'm going to make a YouTube video on how to pump your own gas. All right, so stay tuned.
Like it. Fight the system, Steve. But I'm with Chris now after hearing that story. It will be robots that take us over.
And robots are not afraid to pump their own gas.
You heard it here first.
Awkward silence.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
I had to take a hit off the vape, and you don't like it when I do it on the air, so I muted myself for a second.
You're right. You're right. I don't. You're absolutely right. But thanks for that.
Yeah.
This has been episode 7 of the Fortean Slip. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment, subscribe. Go to iTunes, download the show there, or Libsyn. Check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads. Check out Richard's comic strip on Facebook. Richard, what's the name of your little fucking group?
Bigfooting with Keith and Colin.
There you go. Go there. Check out Steve's crap at stevescrap.something. As always, check out Dred Funn at dredfun.com and youtube.com/dredfun. Hopefully we'll be back next week with a more polished show.
Maybe the gas thing can be called a penis pump on my video.
Penis pump, I like it.
Yeah.
Really,
Let's do
Steve?
Yeah. I like that.
Check out Power Breakdown.
See ya!